Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Franchise Hockey Manager 8 playthrough of the New York Islanders. We are at the start of the postseason. You can see that the Islanders had an incredible regular season as we try to defend our Stanley Cup with 118 points, winners of the President's Trophy. But it is time for the hard work to begin as we try to repeat as Stanley Cup champions here in FHM 8. If you're enjoying the series, would appreciate if you like these videos and subscribe to the channel. We are going to continue making them, and we'll see how this postseason goes. And looks like we will probably be facing the Sabres in the first round. The Bruins, who had been having an incredible season, kind of came back down to earth in the second half of the year, but are still a playoff team. As we prepare for the postseason, a few Islanders are up for awards. Ryan Pulock, one of the finalists for the Norris Trophy this year. You can see an incredible plus 50, plus minus for the veteran defenseman. Not surprisingly, yours truly, after our regular season, is up for the Executive of the Year award. A bit surprising in that the 25-year-old young center Alexander Campbell is up for the Lady Byng Award at the early stages of his career. And then finally, not surprising that our new head coach, Kevin Dineen, after the brilliant regular season that we had, is up for the Jack Adams Trophy. So we will see whether we can win any of those 4 trophies in a couple of months. But between now and then, we're going to be trying to win a much more important trophy, the Stanley Cup. And I was mistaken when I said that I thought we'd be playing the Sabres in the playoffs, because the Sabres actually didn't make the playoffs. The Blue Jackets in our own division were the 8th best team in the Eastern Conference. So we will be hosting the Blue Jackets beginning today. We were 31 points better than they were in the regular season. So the hope is certainly to make quick work of them in this series and move on as we try to repeat. You can see we got a 3-2 victory in the first game. Not even going to I'm not going to delve into the details of these games. I think that we are going to quickly overwhelm Columbus, and it's gonna jinx us if we dig in too deeply. And of course, as I say that, we lose 4-2 to fall back to 1-1 tie in the series and to give them the home ice advantage as we head out to Ohio. And now the defending champion Islanders and the President Trophy winners are under pressure as we've fallen behind 2-1. Tanner Howe is also banged up a little bit. I don't think we're going to need to do anything with him. We will have very shortly, hopefully, Wahlstrom coming back from that fractured knee that has had him sidelined for several months. But I'm not going to put Howe on the injured list at this time. So at Columbus now, down 2-1 in the series, and a 3-0 win. So we are back on serve, so to speak, tied 2-2, as we are going to be heading back to Long Island for Game 5 in the series. Hosting Columbus, Howe is ready to go. Wahlstrom almost back, so we may have to make a decision on who to send down to Bridgeport shortly in the case of Wahlstrom returning. But right now we're focused on today's game and a 5-0 victory for the Islanders. We will hop in and check that out, because we are now just 1 game away from moving on to the second round of the playoffs. 5-0 victory, not surprisingly. Great game from Ottinger. Beauvillier, 1 goal and 2 assists, and Bobby Brink, 1 goal and 1 assist. So nice game at the UBS Arena for the Islanders. We will hopefully be able to clinch here tomorrow on the road at Columbus and move on to the second round of the playoffs. As we move into the month of May, we're going to need to take a quick look at our budget. Hopefully, we can continue to play a bunch of playoff games and hopefully earn a little more money for the team. Quick look at the monthly budget. Yeah, we got to try to build up some more points for the off season. Going to continue with only a 3% bonus on attendance and promotions and arena operations, assuming that we're going to have a full house for the playoff games. Hopefully, we can move on right here. And we do a 6-5 victory for the Islanders. So we've avoided the horrible scenario, which would be the President's Trophy winner getting knocked out in the first round as defending champions, and we are on to the Eastern Conference semifinals. We'll find out. Oh, we don't even need to find out. We're obviously in a 7-game series, so it's pretty obvious who we're going to be playing. Another divisional rival hosting New Jersey in the next round. And of course, if you were paying attention, you know that I just made an error when I said that we played a 7-game series. Of course, we beat the Blue Jackets 6 games to 2, or 4 games to 2 in a 6-game series. But the Devils, obviously, if you look here, had already beaten the Flyers, so they were waiting for us, and it looks like there were no 7-game series. So that's why we knew who we were going to be facing, because the rest of the league was waiting on us. But we are now hosting the New Jersey Devils, so let's get the series started. One change we have made: Wahlstrom is back from his long injury. We'll see how he does. Good to have him back in the lineup, and in order to make space for him, we did have to unfortunately send down our good young center, Xavier Bourgault, who had played 5 games with us this year. Could be a bigger part of the team next season, but right now we are focused on winning this year. So we will start the series with the Devils. 6-3 winners for the Islanders in the first game, so off to a good start. Hopefully we can get a second win at home and keep this series under control. And we did. 2-1 win. So the Islanders up 2-1 as we prepare to head out to New Jersey for the next couple of games in this series. It would be nice to steal at least one in New Jersey to come back and hopefully be able to potentially wrap up this series in 5 games. Another win for the Islanders. Looks like a 5-4 thriller in overtime. We'll take a look at a few more details. Bobby Brink with the first star with a goal and an assist. And then our Lady Byng candidate Campbell also had a goal and an assist. I'm assuming the overtime goal was Bobby Brink. Yep, Bobby Brink scored at even strength at 6:47 in OT. Assists from Howe and Campbell to give the Islanders the win. Can see a solid game from Ottinger, 879 save percentage. Certainly not great, but we got the W, and we are up 3-0 on the Devils. So I mentioned it just before the last game. We wanted to get back and hopefully clinch Game 5 on the island. Now at this point, the hope is not to have to even go back to the island. Hopefully we can get out of here in 4 games and avoid any additional risk of injury. And that is what happened. Sweep the Devils out of the second round. So we're probably going to be waiting for a few days to see who our opponents will be. Looks like the Red Wings, fellow number 1 seed, are up on Tampa Bay, so they are our most likely opponent in the Eastern Conference Finals. And then out west, the Blackhawks lead the Avalanche, and Vancouver and Edmonton are tied. So we will see how things go, but we know that the Islanders are at least going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals this year as we try to repeat. Well, Detroit did end up making it past Tampa Bay, and you can see we're here in the semifinals for the Stanley Cup, and it's 3 number 1 seeds. The only one that got picked off was the Flames, who was actually the team that we beat in the Stanley Cup Finals last season. So we are going to be hosting Detroit, but you can see this is, potentially the toughest matchup we will have if we are going to repeat. They were second in the league to us with 109 points, and the only other team that had over 50 wins. So a huge matchup coming up here against the Red Wings. Hopefully we can get things started well at home. Oof, rough game, a 5-2 loss. And to make matters worse, Nechas injured and out for 4 weeks. So not a great start to the series for the Islanders. Nechas with that fractured rib is going to go right to the injury list. Maybe we get Peak or him back if we can make it through to the Stanley Cup Finals. But right now we've got to take care of business against the Red Wings. So let's figure out who we are going to bring up. Are we going to bring up a youngster or someone a little more experienced? Zhugin, 21-year-old, is one option. Newkirk is more of a veteran, had a nice season for us down at Bridgeport. But as I mentioned, Borgal was the last one that we had up with the big club. He is part of our future, probably not going to be playing a ton, but we are going to get him back on the big club as we try to hopefully bounce back in our next game against Detroit after losing. So big loss to be down Marty Nechas. You see in his second season with the Islanders, had 20 goals and 40 assists, 66 points plus 32. So he has been a great addition for us since we made the trade for him a couple of years ago. But looks like his season may unfortunately be over. Let's see if we can get a W, and we do bounce back with a big 5-0 win against Detroit. So at least we have one win as we head out to the Motor City, and hopefully can steal one in Detroit and get back to the island tied in series and having home ice advantage again. We got the W. We are up 2-1, 5-1 victory for the Islanders. We'll just keep simming here, try to keep the momentum going. Hopefully we can steal another one here and really put a stranglehold on this series, but not to be the case. So we lost 2-0. So it is now a 3-game series, but fortunately we do have home ice advantage back. Let's hope that we can take care of it in this Game 5 against Detroit. 7-4 victory for the Islanders. So we've put a lot of effort into our offense and rebuilding it over the last couple of years, and clearly paid off. Almquist, really nice game, 2 goals and assists for the youngster. Atu Ratti with a goal and an assist. So a couple of the youngsters with great games, and then Andy Fox, the veteran defenseman, who we recently signed to a long and lucrative extension with 2 assists. So we have control of the series again. We are up 3-2, heading to Detroit for a pivotal Game 6. It's always nice to win on home ice, but it's always nice to not face an elimination game. So hopefully we just win this one right here. Oof, 7-1 loss. Definitely not even going to look into that box score. I assume it was Ottinger in net, and he had a rough game. But that one is an ugly result. So we are going to be headed to a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals at the UBS Arena as we try to beat the second best team in hockey and get back to the Stanley Cup Finals for a second straight season. And we've done it. 3-1 victory for the New York Islanders. So we will be back in the finals as we try to defend Pelech with the first star with 2 assists, and then the youngster Savoy with a goal. You can see we got off to a big start, 2-0 quickly lead, and a 3-1 lead at the end of the first period. And after that, it was just all holding on for life. You can see Ottinger with a brilliant game, saved 34 out of 35 shots. So we are past the second best team in hockey to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. You can see we're going to be hosting Edmonton. If we look at the standings, good season for Edmonton, 96 points, which was third in the Western Conference, but we are certainly the favorites coming off of our President's Trophy with 118 points. So the pressure is going to be on the Islanders as we move into the Stanley Cup Finals. As we get set to begin the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers, it's kind of a back to the future. Islanders and the Oilers in the Stanley Cup Finals. And if you were paying attention, the Oilers have also won a relatively recent Stanley Cup, and we are the defending champions. So it is back to the 1980s as we begin the Stanley Cup Finals here on Long Island. You can see it looks unlikely that we will get Peak or Natchez back before the end of the series, unfortunately, but we are still pretty close to 100%. You can see nobody's even banged up at all, so no excuses. It's time to get the job done and maybe perhaps begin cementing a second Islanders dynasty if we can win a back-to-back Stanley Cup. 6-1 victory, so a great start for the Islanders in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. It's going to take a moment here for the game to move into June, unfortunately, but we are just going to go live with this, take a quick look at our monthly budget. Going to just go down to no change. Presumably we're going to have a full arena, so we're going to try to bulk up as many points as we can for spending in the next off-season. But the main focus right now is hopefully winning this second game at home and getting a big lead before we have to head out to Western Canada to face the Oilers. I don't know why I try to keep calling them the Oilanders. I guess I'm mixing the Oilers into the Islanders. Oh, I'm going to have to do the Hall of Fame vote before moving on, so I'll do that quickly. I don't put a much of thought into this. Thurin Fleury, Henrik Sedin, Chris Osgood. We'll go with a lot of the goalies. And Patrick Elias. I don't put a ton of thought into that. I'm not going to lie. Ooh, 3-2 loss. So the Oilers, by getting a game on the island, have taken the home ice advantage away from us. So hopefully we can head out to Edmonton and win at least one game out there. We did get the first game of the series, 6-2. We're only going to look when we do well. Pulock, veteran defenseman with a goal and an assist. Ratti and Bobby Brink. So a big offensive juggernaut by the Islanders. You can see Brink, Ratti, Pulock, Mason Shaw, Ratti, and Matthew Barzal, the captain, scoring the goals for us. So we have, at the very least, taken home ice back. Would be great to get a victory from Edmonton here, a victory against Edmonton here, and then potentially be able to clinch in Game 5 back on the island. But work to do before that can be the case. And we got the work done. 5-4 win. Looks like Bouvillier got banged up in the last game, but it doesn't seem serious. So 5-4 win for the Islanders. Capobianco, the veteran defenseman who may be playing in his final games with the Islanders, with the #1 star for us. So good way to potentially end up his career with us. You can see we've been going with Ottinger all the time. Going to have an interesting decision with him in the offseason. But right now we are not thinking about the offseason. We are thinking about the fact that we have a 3-1 lead in the Stanley Cup Finals as we are trying to repeat. Let's play the game against Edmonton. And a 6-0 victory. The New York Islanders have repeated as Stanley Cup champions, and it was a somewhat easier run this time, with the exception of that classic semifinal against the Red Wings. Took the round of 16 in 4 games against the Blue Jackets. Did fall behind 2-1 there, but then rallied to win. Swept the Devils out in the quarterfinals. Semifinals, again, went to Game 7 in that classic series against the Red Wings, who were the second best team behind only us during the regular season. And then in the Stanley Cup Finals, a 4-1 series win for the New York Islanders against the Edmonton Oilers. So the rebuild of the Islanders is certainly complete, with back-to-back Stanley Cup championships here in FHM 8 for Old School Sports. As we start preparing for the off season, going to need to decide what to do with Panarin. Mason Shaw also looking for a lot of money next year. Lemico just suffered a serious injury. He's 30, probably will not re-sign him. But you can see that, although we were obviously under the cap this year, we need to think we could potentially sign Panarin. But you look at some of those younger players on our team, and Alexander Campbell, Matthew Savoy, and Aatu Räty, all getting decent raises to take up some additional cap space next year. And then importantly, Adam Fox is going to be making about $4.5 million a year more next season than he did this season, with the 6-year extension that we signed him through the prime of his career. And then Ottinger also getting about a $3 million raise next season. So that is the reason why we've got some tough decisions to make on Panarin. I don't think actually is a tough decision. We just purely can't afford him unless we make a lot of big moves to the team. But we do have tough decisions with Dobson and Peak. Would be nice to bring at least one of them back. Certainly Matteo Rotundi, who we did end up sending back down to Bridgeport when our defenseman got healthy, is going to be on the major league roster next year at the NHL level. So we don't need both Peak and Dobson back. The question is whether we will try to re-sign one of them. And then you can see we do have some depth in the minor league system also, with some salaries that we are going to be paying down there, with players who will be on the shuttle between Bridgeport and Long Island next season most likely. Got several decisions to make with our coaching staff and our scouts before we can also get to the off season and decide on our players, and also see the awards for the season. I would tend to think we're probably going to bring most of these people back. We've been in charge of the team for 5 seasons now, so most of the scouts we have are people that we want. Todd Richards, a good, solid assistant coach. You can see very, very versatile and really effective at coaching defensemen. Could also certainly coach physical training or forwards for us in a pinch. So certainly want to bring Richards back. We'll try to pay him as little as possible for as long as possible, since we do like him and want him on the team. We'll go through the same process with the rest of our coaches and scouts, but not force you to watch the blow by blow as we decide who to bring back and who to let go. So taking a look at the players that are free agents on either the NHL or minor league rosters, Panarin is now looking for a little over $9 million a year. You can see he had a fantastic season with us. 43 goals, 50 assists, 93 points, led the team in scoring, plus 26. 34 years old, going to turn 35 next season. We just don't have the cap space to bring him back, so is huge a part of the offense that he has been, and as expensive as he was for us to pick up in a trade. Hey, he was a rental player. We won a Stanley Cup with him. Thanks for everything you did for us. If things shift around and we make some trades at the beginning of the offseason, maybe we sign him on the open market. But not going to be bringing him back, unfortunately. Mason Shaw, another good contributor, but looking for about $4.5 million, so he won't be back. Alausen, who you remember we sent down to Bridgeport relatively early in the season last year, looking for more than I think he deserves as kind of a borderline roster player for us. Looking for almost $3 million a year. We've put on the auto qualify, so if someone makes him an offer, we will get a chance to match it, but we're going to certainly let him go to free agency. Lemicko's suffering for that fractured larynx. We're going to let him go. Going to make an offer to Chase Stillman to bring him back. Tkachev, let him go. He's 30 years old now, has been organizational depth at Bridgeport the last couple years. And then Bodie Wild once looked like he was going to be a potentially important part of our defense, but 26 years old now. You can see his maximum potential is 2 stars, so we are going to move on from Bodie Wild also. So the decision is really what to do with Dobson and Peak. Dobson is younger. Dobson has been a long-term Islander. Really good player. He's looking for over $4.5 million a year. It's going to be expensive, but we may make an offer to him, thinking that we can probably trade him to someone if we decide that we don't want him on the ultimate final roster. Actually, I think we're going to do the same thing with Peak also. Being injured for the last several months and missing the playoff run, his demands have actually come down to just a little over $2 million a year. So I think we're going to make offers to both Dobson and Peak, try to bring them back, and then when we get to into July in the official off-season, we'll need to decide whether we really want to keep them for the long term or perhaps trade them to somebody. The other defenseman that we maybe need to trade is Capobianco also, who's making about $2.4 million, 1 year left, 28-year-old. It's pretty certain that Dobson, Capobianco, and the injured Peak will not all be on the roster next season, but I think we're going to sign them all and then extract the value that we can by potentially trading them. And as we've talked about, it's going to be real tough to potentially trade Ottinger after the incredible season that he just had, and a back-to-back Stanley Cup champion goalie. But it may be necessary, and we look at what Perek did. Certainly has great potential after a really nice rookie season as our backup netminder. As we get closer to the off season, you can see we're on June 29th before the awards ceremony. Just kind of take a final look at the season. Obviously a great season for the Islanders, 316 goals scored. Looks like it was number 1 in the league, and only 224 goals against, which was not best in the league, but really only a goal worse than the Detroit team that we faced in the Eastern Conference Finals. So when you have the best offense and the second best defense in all of hockey, you're going to have a plus 92 differential, and you're going to also score 118 points, win the President's Trophy, and ultimately win the Stanley Cup in a repeat. So just a brilliant season for these Islanders. Taking a look, a little bit of deeper dive into some of the stats. Panarin did a great job with us. As I mentioned, we may, depending on what we do when we get to July, if we make a bunch of trades early and open up some cap space, may potentially bring him back. But we are not extending him before he becomes a free agent. Barzal, the captain, a little less productive personally, being on the same line as Panarin, but 33 goals and 42 assists is a excellent season, plus 27. Nachas, although he ended up getting hurt at the later stages of the playoffs, nice season, third on the team in scoring with 66 points. Konechny, another player we've added in recent years, 57 points. Very similar season to what he did last year, but was plus 4. Alexander Campbell, a really nice season for the 25-year-old. 25 goals, 31 assists, a finalist for the Lady Byng. Savoy, probably the most improved player on the team. The youngster with 19 goals and 33 assists, 52 points in 64 games, plus 25 for the former number 2 overall pick. Speaking of former first-round picks for us, Tanner Howe, good solid second season with the team at the age of 20. He's still getting better. Beauvillier, a bit of a down year, but he was hurt, missed about a third of the season, still had 14 goals and 24 assists. Bobby Brink, the youngster, 38 points for us. Tu Raté, as you know, some big playoff goals, 15 goals and 22 assists in the regular season. Getting into some defensemen, a bit of a down year, if you can believe it, for Adam Fox, but still 12 goals and 24 assists. Also missed a lot of time at the beginning of the season on the injured list. Plus 12, was a Norris finalist last year, not this season. But speaking of Norris finalists, Ryan Pulock, the stay-at-home defenseman, all 82 games in the lineup, scores 35 points and a brilliant plus 50. He is a finalist for the Norris Trophy. Almquist, a nice solid rookie year for us, split some time between Bridgeport and the Islanders. Presumably he will be up with the big club all of next season. And then Dobson and Capobianco, we've re-signed both of them. They may not both end up on the roster when we get to October of next year. Mason Shaw letting go. Pelech banged up for a second straight year, but still a excellent defensive defenseman. Wallstrom, a lot of injuries also. And then we've talked a little bit about the goaltenders. We actually looked at their stats a little while back, but a brilliant season for Ottinger, an excellent rookie year for Perrick. So we are feeling good about the team, and you can see that we also just recently signed Evan Millet, who was our number 1 pick a couple years ago, signed him to a contract. Hopefully he will be able to contribute in the coming years at the big club, but will likely be in the minors next season. No, not likely, he will be in the minors next season. So let's turn over to the awards ceremony. Hart Trophy, we are not in the mix for with anyone on our team. Conn Smythe will be interesting to see. I think Ottinger would have to be a big candidate, but perhaps you know from having watched this live that I didn't go in and look at every game, but I would think that Panarin or maybe Barzal are also good candidates. Ottinger, not a shock. 27 games, .920 save percentage, and 4 shutouts in the Stanley Cup run. Calder Trophy, we are not a candidate, but the Norris Trophy we are. Will Pulock win it? He does. The stay-at-home defenseman wins it. And as we go through the rest of the awards, since I clicked on show them all rather than one at a time, did get the executive year for Old School Sports. So we are going to get a lot of points to finally start improving our abilities at actually doing this job. We got the President's Trophy, we got the Stanley Cup, and we've got the Executive of the Year. I think we have had as good a season as you can possibly have And you see that Kevin Dineen also won the Jack Adams. Lady Bing, our candidate there, did not win in Campbell. That went to Patrick Kane. But still a nice day for the Islanders with a lot of awards, and it's great to see a stay-at-home defenseman like Pulock be recognized with the Norris Trophy. Only 35 points, but that plus-minus of 50 really impressed the voters. Looking at the All-Star team, not a shock that Norris Trophy winner Pulock is on the first team at defense, and then not a surprise that Panarin is a second teamer either, with team leading 93 points for us in his quite likely only season with the team. But when you rent a player and you win the Stanley Cup, you thank them and you move on, even if you don't have all of the money to bring them back, unfortunately. So we are going to move on to the final day of this 2026 season. You can see Manager of the Year, reached the playoffs, winning season, .600 winning percentage first, reached the finals and won championship. Did everything that we could possibly do. So a season score of 48, back-to-back Stanley Cup championships for the Islanders, 9 available points. So we are going to get up to at least average in discipline, self-preservation, and player management, and actually get us up a little notch above, and then add in several points to our negotiating skill. Hopefully that will help us sign players to somewhat more reasonable contracts in this coming off season in the future. So that is it. The 2026 season is over. The Islanders have repeated as Stanley Cup champions. In our next episode, we will be back with the 2026 offseason, see what changes we make to this roster. It certainly will be looking different next year as players, the young players we have been building around for the last couple seasons, start making a bit more money and making us have to make some difficult decisions this coming off season. But we will talk about that in our next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the series, and hope you have a great day.